stick with you guys, and I have a new update for Hawaii. Hawaii is now underneath. Please listen up. This means you have an active tsunami alert for your region. You could be seeing this. We have an update. You could be seeing a tsunami within 4 hours. Please get to higher ground immediately. Hawaii, you are now in the action phase. You're no longer in the watch phase. If you live anywhere near the coast, if you know anyone who lives near the coast, please let them know there is now an active tsunami threat. Warning. Tsunami warning.
Alright guys, so I've been done told you guys. I've been done told y'all. As a matter of fact, I just did a video on the dragon yesterday. I told you guys. This right here, this spot, the mouth of the dragon right here, right there, that spot, the mouth of the serpent, the Leviathan, Satan, that part right there, when it opens up on the other side of the world, on the underneath side of him, is right here. It's called the Sea of Okhotsk. This is his chinny chin on the bottom, right here. When it starts spinning around. See that? See how it's spinning around? Well, where's the 8.7 magnitude earthquake? Probably a 9 downgraded to a 8.7. Yeah, you got big extreme buoys going off all across the Aleutian Islands and the Kamchatka Peninsula and the Sea of Okhotsk, that whole ring up there. That's the dragon waking up, guys. And that tsunami is trying to cascade across the west coast of North America. So I'm trying to see if we can get Dutch Sense, if he's gonna pop up and say anything, because this happened not too long ago. So I guess he's got something upcoming right now. He's waiting to drop something right now. At 7:49. Alright guys. This is the channel that I watched, and I learned in 2018 that my suspicions from 2006 were correct. I saw the dragon in 2006, but I had never seen Google Earth with the satellite map, so I could not see his eyes, and I couldn't see his lips and jaw, none of that mess. All I saw was just the islands and the Drake Passage peninsulas. And that's where I decided, I said, hey, they call it Drake Passage, and it looks like something pushed right between these two continents. Little did I know, I was right, but I was dead wrong, thinking that something pushed between the two continents. Those two continents are part of that thing. They are the wings. People just, their minds won't let them believe the truth. It's so sad. So sad. When they look between the two continents, they refuse to believe. So look, it's just like saying this right here. See this cross right here? From here to there? That is Antarctica, South America. Right there. That's the tip of South America, right around there. And the tip of Antarctica right around here. That's the way it is, man. And this is the mouth of the dragon right there. Right where it spins around at. Just to let you know. So you got a 8.7 earthquake. Now, from what we know and have been studying, like I said, I studied this way back in the day off of this guy's channel, dutchsinse. And through his channel, if you look at his Google Earth map, it looks totally different than ours. See that?
Hey everybody, 6:34 p.m. Central Time on the 29th of July 2025, and we just had an 8.0 earthquake
reported out of Kamchatka, Russia. This is preliminary as we speak right now, 6:35 p.m. Central Time on the 29th of July, Tuesday, still here in the States. It's the first 8 in a few years for the United States, or for the North Pacific, and this means a lot for us in the United States since this is right next to Alaska. So let's go ahead and turn on a display capture. You're going to hear a ding and a rumble a few times as the earthquake gets revised up or down. USGS and other agencies may weigh in on this very soon. Looks like one agency has it at 7.1. GFO in Potsdam has brought it in at a 7. USGS has brought it in at an 8. So let's get the information open here before it just disappears off the feed entirely so we can see what's going on here. Here's our 8.0 earthquake reported from the USGS, Kamchatka, Russia, and we'll keep that open, and I'll open another screen so we can go check the Tsunami Warning Center, the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center, but we can just go to a place called tsunami.gov. And we have a watch which has been issued on this large earthquake. They have it listed directly at magnitude 8. Now, this may go up or down. This is preliminary, and I don't want people to panic. But when we have a tsunami watch, it means we do need to keep watch for the potential of a large tsunami on 8.0 level activity. It depends on if this was really a 8.0. Now, we're going to also keep the National Data Buoy Center open. We have one in event mode right now from storms and low pressure system up over Alaska, that flashing there. But what we're going to look for over here is for these buoys to start to go into motion, and that will be first from the seismic wave. And when that happens, it'll start to flash like what's down here in the lower left-hand corner. Hopefully you guys can see this. It's hard to kind of see, but these will light up as the seismic wave passes through the area first, and it'll shake the buoys, so to speak, that are moored to the sea floor out there. It'll take a little bit for that to happen, and these should light up eventually. This is big enough that we may see all of the buoys light up going all the way over to the United States and all the way back down over to Japan just from the seismic wave displacing the buoys. It's not an actual physical wave that we're talking about here that'll displace the buoys at first. Then around this area here where the big earthquake just struck, we have to watch for the potential of an actual tsunami, which gets us back to now they've upped it to an advisory. So there's an advisory instead of a watch. And you can see we have different levels here. Advisory and watch are, I would think, the lower. And then the warning and the threat are what we don't want to see much. We don't want to see the red or the purple much. But the red especially would be warning, is like you have been notified that there is a wave on the way. Right now it's an advisory level, so I don't want to go too hard into it on the advisory, other than to say they're advising Alaska and the areas around where the large earthquake struck. Now, when this gets revised, you may hear a ding or a rumble of the bell as the earthquake gets revised. Let's hit refresh on this, make sure we have the most recent information. Looks like USGS is still at 8.0. Who's at 7.8? 7.8 is coming in with the GFO in Potsdam out of Europe. We're talking about 0.2 difference between these two. Now, that may not sound like a lot, but when we're talking about upper 7 and low 8 level activity, it's like the difference is 2 different 8s. added together is what's the difference between the calculations on the USGS and the Europeans. I'll go with the USGS right now. They may adjust it up or down. There's a tsunami watch advisory underway now. There may very well be tsunami activity that spreads out from this. It's big enough that we can expect some kind of localized wave, most likely. It would be odd for there not to be some kind of localized wave activity this close to land, but at this depth. So let's get the information from the USGS back open. We'll pull the coordinates and go see how deep of a location it is and what the topography is like in the area. This is in the Northwest Pacific along the plate boundary. The first 8 in a long time, or upper 7 in a long time. We'll call it an 8 for now until they revise it up or down. So the depth on here, we're 7,000 feet below sea level. Again, we're down at the bottom of the seafloor, below it, several kilometers down. Next to it are a bunch of volcanoes. They're marked from the Smithsonian. A few of them you may have heard of before, others you may have never heard of before. Some of them have showed up on the Volcanic Ash Advisory Center in the past several years. But 7,000 feet down, you can get underwater landsliding that goes on here, which then creates localized tsunamis that spread out a few hundred miles. This would be Russia, for instance. But with a 8, you can also see a large shift that either goes up or down on the plate boundary here, and that's probably what they're waiting to see with professionals on issuing a tsunami warning versus just watching for one. A warning is just like a warning for the weather. If there's a warning, it's already been cited, or it's been spotted, or it's been detected in some way. In this case, right now, we're going to have to wait. Now, the speed on which a tsunami can spread can be as fast as a jetliner, that can vary too, but let's just say 400 to 600 miles per hour it can go out in the ocean. The wave can travel. So you can think about the speed it would take for a jet, passenger jet, to fly from point to point, and that's about the time it takes for a wave to go across the Pacific, for instance. In 2011, there was a 9.0 earthquake over here off the coast of Tohoku, Japan, or off the coast of Fukushima, and it took all day for the wave to reach halfway across the Pacific, and then by the next morning, it was reaching the east coast of the United States. And there's people killed on the east coast of the United States in 2011 from the wave from Japan that was a full magnitude larger. So this is less. This is an 8.0 earthquake. It's the first upper 7 to low 8 to strike. USGS having it at 8.0 here. I'll get a screenshot of this just in case they decide to change information, but let's just hit refresh. They still have it at 8. We'll click on their tsunami warning, which takes us to the same site for the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center, tsunami.gov, and they have it as an advisory currently. This could go up to warning at any moment, and they're advising the areas around Alaska for watch number 1. Maybe we should click on that and just see what it says. So here is what it says. Okay, preliminary information only. Well, they're going to tell people to watch and wait and to pay attention to local authorities. And that's what I would suggest you do if you're a viewer of mine and you're waiting to get some kind of confirmation as to whether or not there's going to be a tsunami in Alaska. Let's say you live up there for some reason and you're waiting to find out. Well, guys, I wouldn't wait too long. I would listen to your local advisories and go from there. Let's go back to the National Data Buoy Center and just check the buoys again. We're going to wait and see. Okay. Remember what I told you about the buoys lighting up and starting to blink here? So this is far enough away that it cannot be a physical wave. So this is roughly 500 miles to 1,000 miles away. There's no way that a actual wave that from a collapse or from a tsunami could have reached all the way out there to these buoys yet. The only thing that's reached them is the actual shaking from the earthquake, letting us know it was a big movement that happened there, which we know already. You can pick it up on seismographs. And look at the disturbance picked up on the buoy here. We'll just click on the nearest location here. And you see this red over here on the right? You might not be able to see it very well if you're watching on a phone. You might have been on a big screen or something. But this is the event details. So I'm going to click on it, and we'll just see what's going on here. So this big red blip is somewhat abnormal. It's a 15-second interval looking at what came across the buoy. And it looks like we got about, oh, wow. It looks like we got about a half meter or a foot and a half displacement at the surface on the actual earthquake itself that far out. A foot and a half displacement. Look at this. This is in meters, 5788.5 to 5789. And it went up by a half, or I'm sorry, it went up by a half meter. Okay, it went up by, let's say, just under a foot. Just under a foot, and then down by just under a foot. That's a big displacement on the surface. Let me put it in perspective. In the past, big earthquakes, you might see a little blip on here that maybe is registering a tenth of a meter or something. So that's a noticeable blip on the buoy that far out so quick. It's only been a few minutes since the earthquake has struck, and all the way out here, we're getting buoys in event mode that are going up at a blip. That means most likely a pretty big wave, I would think. Wouldn't you, if you were a longtime viewer of mine? In the chat room, let's take a consensus on this. Not that groups are always smart together, but we've all looked at this enough that if you see something like this out there, this will kind of tell us that there is some kind of big shock wave that was just released from this. And if there's a big shock wave, likely, oh, a revised earthquake. We got to wait for it to ring through, guys.
.0.
So it looks like USGS has revised the earthquake and the location and the depth slightly, but the magnitude is still staying at 8.0. So I would think there was some kind of snap that happened out here. Let's go in and zoom in on the location. Well, let's get the new coordinates. Now that the USGS has revised the location slightly, it's probably by a few 100 feet or something because they're pretty good about the locations. Let's go ahead. When they report them, I mean. Let's put the coordinates in. Yeah, it went by a few miles to the north. I just wanted to see if it changed much. So it's still 8.0, but now when you look at this, let's go look at the USGS plate boundary map and bring this into perspective. So what just broke? Up in the Northwest Pacific up here, this is what just broke. And look at the red line. Do you see the red line here? This is the plate boundary for the Pacific and the big earthquake right along it. But this can go up or down, also go northeast and southwest. So it can snap up or down, or it can just move laterally. I would think lateral movement like this wouldn't cause a big shock wave type motion all the way out here where the buoys are. This is just my estimation on it. I don't know if professionals would agree with me or disagree with me on this. Let's hit refresh on the National Data Buoy Center site and just see if any other buoys are moving. Oh, okay. All right. So now look. Now you can see the whole plate boundary has showed motion along the buoys. This is, again, far enough away. How many thousand miles are we talking here? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5,000 miles to the east and about 5,000 miles to the west. All of the buoys are showing actual detection of the earthquake, and they go into event mode. But it doesn't mean a physical wave like rolling in the ocean has reached them yet. But next to where the earthquake struck, right here, somewhat in the middle, let's just zoom in right here. Somewhere right in here, we've got a big disturbance detected of an actual shock wave going out to displace the buoy at the surface by a half foot to almost a foot, up and down. So I want to go down to the south and just see what registered to the south, if there's any difference. This one went 5322 to 5322.5, a half meter, up and down as well. Wow. Okay, that's again another buoy. What about further down to the south on the coast of Japan? How big? Okay, you see it's less. Now we're about 3,000 miles away at this point. Look what happened here. It went down and then bounced back up. And it went down by a quarter of a meter. I'm thinking that there's probably actual tsunami that was generated by this, just by a guess. I have to guess right now. I have nothing to go on aside from what the professionals are saying. But if you were asking me if I was in some kind of cubicle and they had my name to get stamped on it, I'd say, okay, there's some kind of actual physical shock wave that's spreading out. We don't normally see this with all the big earthquakes. Sometimes it's just a blip. This time it's a big blip and it's gone all the way out, all the way. Let's go look at the furthest most buoy that's registering right now. Whoops. Wow, I can't even click on it here. Hold on. There we go. Two separate event modes, one from a few days ago. We'll leave that one alone. That's from the big earthquakes over in Kamchatka, Russia. We're concerned with the one that's right up here at the front end. Let's go view the event details. Let's see. All right. Well, it went up by a tenth of a meter. Bizarre. Okay, so we moved up on one side 5,000 miles to the east. This all happened within minutes of the earthquake striking today. So here at the very center, going back to it, let's hit refresh, see what the buoys show. Again, we're going on what the buoys show just so we can get an idea of any kind of actual waves that might be detected that are going out, how far this is affecting out the Pacific. We'll go back to the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center and hit refresh, see what it shows. They still have it at advisory level. We're at 8.0, which is the first 8 in several, I want to say at least a year for the whole planet. We'll see if they keep it at 8.0, but it is an extremely large earthquake in the area surrounding the Northwest Pacific. There may be tsunami activity going over to the Aleutian Island channel. Let's go back over here. I don't have many viewers up in Alaska, but we have enough that may have family or friends. There's actually people that live out here, guys. Believe it or not, especially with the naval. They got a lot of U.S. Navy stuff going on out here. People in the service might be out here. Researchers might be out here. And then, of course, this is summertime. This is time that you would take a cruise or you would go up there and be in a cove. You know, not that everybody's going to do that, but there are people around the world who do this. And this is the time of year you'd be up there. So I would hope that any tsunami generation would be localized, that it would be stuck to the coast here. But even here, we have large population centers. I mean, when you think of Kamchatka, you think it's like just complete remote forest. But you look in, and there's a nice sized city right here. This is in Russia. I don't know the name of the place, but the name of the city. I probably couldn't. Yeah, I'm not going to even try to pronounce it. But so we have nearby cities that are along the coast, at least a few. And I would think that would cause damage in those cities in particular, that we're going to see videos that come out of here, most likely on social media. And it'll probably be pretty intense. Let's go back and recap. If you're just now tuning in, an 8.0 earthquake has struck. This is like the top pinnacle point of where we've been over the past several months, if not a year or more. We have not seen anything this large. But let me take you back to just a few hours ago down here. Do you see this? Well, we have a deep 6.6 that's down here marked in white. That deep 6.6 let us know that something was getting ready to happen across the Indo-Australian plate going up into the Pacific. Let's go back to the USGS map and show you what we're talking about there. Oh, wait, let me get a USGS reported quake open again. If we even have one still. There we go. So back over here on the USGS map, we had a deep 6.6 all the way down here at the Indo-Australian plate boundary. It's a plate away. And a deep 6 lets us know that a shallower, larger earthquake is coming. And a deep 6.6 lets us know some even bigger earthquake is coming. And we would watch next to where the deep earthquakes are taking place. Well, if this deep earthquake was on its own, again, you see it raised high off the planet there. That would be one thing, and we would just watch next to the deep earthquake. But we had multiple new deep earthquakes today, going from right up here. I have to zoom in on it to even see it. It's raised high off the planet here. It's a deep 4 right on our letter D, where we watch for deep earthquakes to take place. Then, new deep earthquakes popped off on our other letter D next to Japan, and our other letter D down here at Indonesia. A bunch of new deep earthquakes took place in the last day and a half, letting us know that something's coming up from down below. And then now, up here at the surface, we get an upper 7 to low 8. Some agencies 7.8, others 8.0. I would like to go back and check now and see, is there any tsunami activity? Have they taken it from an advisory to a warning? Okay, we're still at advisory. This is good. If we stay at advisory, that would be good. But the potential threat for Japan, clicking the breakpoint marker. Click it. Okay, I'm clicking it, but that's not giving it to me. We don't have the Japan warning open. It's saying to click on it. I'm clicking it. It's not giving me the information. All it's telling me is the potential threat for Japan. So a potential threat put in purple that Japan would be on the north side of here is where we would watch. We would watch North Japan's coast. If there was going to be a tsunami that impacted from up here, it would come down just straight through the ocean down to the southwest. There's nothing to stop it. So we would go straight down through the Kuril Islands and we would come in on the northeast coast of Japan up here. But that's if it's a significant wave coming their direction. We don't know if there's a significant wave yet. We'll go back and check one more time because, again, we're not at a warning level yet, but for Japan, it's at threat level. Let's go back and look at the National Data Buoy Center and hit refresh. Okay, we've lit up now past Japan, down south of Japan, spreading out on both sides of the Izu Ridge. Let's see what the southernmost buoy is showing. Now it's just a blip. This little red dot here on the very far right, which you can barely even see. Let me click it and open it up a little bit. You see how it's 57794 at the center? And we go up to 577.98, and we go as far down as 577.9. In other words, nothing. It's just a little blip as far south of Japan. And we would see this little kind of blip next to big earthquakes in the past, right next to the big earthquake. Japan in the past, just a little blip if there's not a tsunami. But in this case, right out from the earthquake itself, we get an actual foot or more at the surface, which is just major displacement, in my opinion. That's a lot of displacement. Here's the buoy. It's not up for debate. Look, 5788.5, and then we're going along in a flat line, and then the earthquake actually hits, and this is the displacement. We go from 5788.5 meters to 5789 and some change. So that is like a foot of actual displacement out in the ocean. Just think of it like a giant shockwave just hits the buoy, and the buoy is moored to the seafloor. And that would then mean we have to trace that back. So we're out here off the coast, somewhere out here, and a foot of displacement happens at the surface. Well, we trace it back to here, and that would mean then some kind of wave would be generated at least around here. And would it go to Alaska? I would think at least it could go over as far as Pip, but I would think it would go over through the Aleutian Island chain as well, which is Alaska, and then that goes down to Japan. Kuril Islands, Japan pretty much lays claim to most of the Kuril Islands, from what I understand. So they would issue a tsunami threat to the north, most likely. And I would think they would probably watch down here too, just in case, that they would sound the sirens for low-lying areas in here, just in case over the next few hours. I'm just guessing what they would do in Japan. They're overly cautious on the tsunami thing. I do not blame them one bit. It's better safe than sorry. Sound the alarm and go to higher ground for just a few hours as we wait. The speed of a jetliner, we're already talking about 30 minutes here, so we're already talking it could have flown pretty far at 400 miles an hour. You're talking 200 miles, 400 miles. It would take a few hours for it to get down to Japan. Same for over into Alaska. However, in Kamchatka, it would already be hitting at this point, or almost hitting at this point, if there is any wave activity to talk about. Now look, we've spread even further. Now we're down at the Philippines. This may light up the whole Pacific, guys. The buoys are going into event mode now down south, as far south as the Philippines. Look at this. And it's spread over here to Canada. Oh, wow, we are progressing. So the shock wave itself from the earthquake, let's go back and talk about this now. 8.0, the shock wave itself has spread all the way over to here in the last 30 minutes. And it spread all the way down to here, down next to the Philippines, spreading out equally in both directions. And it's lighting up the tsunami buoys along the way. As the shock wave hits the buoys, they detect it. But it's not an actual wave like tsunami that you would think, water rushing through the ocean. That's to come. So there's two things going on. One is the physical shock wave from the earthquake that goes out really fast, and it's going out as far as the United States and down to Philippines so far. It may go all the way around the North Pacific. It might trail off down here at Central America, and it might trail off down here at Fiji, for instance. And we'll see every buoy lit up all the way around the entire perimeter of the Pacific as the seismic wave goes around the perimeter of the Pacific, following these red lines, these plate boundaries here. So really, every buoy along these red lines here should light up, at least on the north side. I wouldn't think all the way down here, but up here, all of this on both sides should light up the buoy-wise. But that gets us into the tsunami now. Let's go back and look and see what the Tsunami Advisory Center shows. And we have still advisory level. We're not at a warning level, which is good, but that could change at any moment. You need to pay attention to this. Tsunami.gov is the website. And it's really just for the people in the North Pacific that I would think need to pay attention to this, and in North Japan, which is a lot of people. It's not like it's sparsely populated like back in the 1800s. There are a lot of people that live in North Japan and the Kuril Islands, Kamchatka, and the Western Aleutian Island chain. I mean, it's got a number in the millions for sure, overall between all the countries. So that's a lot of people. And we go and see this, and then you see this, and we haven't heard a siren sound like this in many, many, many months for the whole planet. It's the biggest earthquake on the whole planet in many months, if not a year. So summing it up, big earthquake following our deep 6.6. And then this takes us into we may need to watch for more activity that's similar in size over the next several days. I mean, for instance, look, we're going to get a bunch of aftershock activity. We all know that when you get a huge earthquake, you get aftershocks in the location that can carry on for days, weeks, months in some cases. In this case, it's 6.2 aftershock alone. Well, the aftershocks alone are as big as the biggest earthquakes this past week for the whole planet. So this is going to carry on for several more hours, most likely, and most likely a few days. But we're not done yet. We're going to see compensation movement go around the planet. I mean, a 6 down here in Mexico seems like nothing now, right? Or El Salvador, I mean. And the 7.0 this morning, all the way on the opposite side of the planet, down here on the south side of the Pacific, doesn't seem like much now, does it? But it's a lot for one day. We're talking about a 6.5 here, a 6.9 to 7.0 here, an 8.0 here, and a 6.0 here, all today, plus a deep 6.6, all today. Again, let me recap that for you. A 7 down here, 6.9, down south of New Zealand this morning. A deep 6.6 down below Fiji today. A 6.5 below Sumatra last night going into this morning. An 8.0 that just struck, and a 6.0 here on the coast of.
Now, if you remember, I showed you that all 4 of those corners that he just pointed to are the dragon's mouth. The Sea of Okhotsk up there near Kamchatka, Alaska, Russia, that's the chin. The Caribbean right here, this is the jaw to the side of the mouth. Where he pointed over at Indonesia, Tonga area. Hold on, he pointed over towards like Australia, Indonesia area. That's the 3rd side. And then down here, underneath South America, you can see the top of his head plainly. That's the 4th side. That's the top, that's the side, and that's the bottoms. All right. So these earthquakes are all in the same places. 8.7 on his chin. Yeah, 6.0 and a 6.5 and another 6.8, all on his mouth today.